You have to find the article, Rob. There's a crazy article of the Roman catechist saying we are not going to catechize Rome anymore. Do you know what the article is?
I know what you're talking about.
The Rome. Oh my gosh, man. This is like straight out of the Apocalypse talking about.
I'll just search your tweets because I know you,
you
tweet forever. Hold on, I'll find it.
Sometimes I'm tempted just to get X just to
get.
Oh,
you know what you can. Oh, you're on there. Stop pretending you're not.
I'm not. I promise I'm not. I'm not. I wish I was.
4 pages down, and I'm only 3 hours through your tweets.
wait.
You saying you'd sooner believe aliens landed in your backyard?
You search on.
We're talking about the chirp.
The chirp. We had Ryan Katsu Rivera on. He was like, dude, you're wild on Twitter, man. I don't know.
Women cops.
I know how to find it.
It's okay to be white. Boy,
one of my interactions with I got it. I'm gonna send it to you right now, Rob.
Okay. Well, that comes through. And while Modern Papist is here, I do just want to share this real quick. Modern Papist has a YouTube channel, and his parish is raising funds for an adoration chapel. So he's having his priest on his YouTube channel March 2nd at 7:30 for a question and answer. So
very cool.
And check them out, guys.
Cool. Let's go.
Okay, so ex-Catholics in Rome reconnect with roots, spirituality, and paganism. Reconnect with roots, spirituality, and paganism. As Romans search for alternatives to Catholicism, some have turned to Jupiter, Minerva, and Juno. So Vatican City aren't as disillusioned by their experiences in Catholicism. Some Romans are turning to paganism and finding a connection to their roots through worshiping the gods of antiquity, whom they see as more welcoming than the church. Than this church? Who can be more welcoming than this church? I don't get it. Rome is pagan, Pope Francis told members of the Roman clergy during a closed-door meeting on January 14th, when he urged them to consider the city a mission territory. Asked about the Pope's surprising words a few weeks later, the head of the Department for Catechesis in the Diocese of Rome admitted Rome is at the same time pagan and the city of the Pope. It's a paradoxical city. Makes you think Rome will become the seat of the Antichrist. It makes you think because we know in the end times Rome will rise again. Like the beast is Rome. You know, if you really understand what's going on there, even when it's talking about Babylon, it's talking about Rome and Babylon, this entity that's going to rise up. The number of practicing Catholics in Italy has plummeted after the pandemic. The Italian National Institute of Statistics found that only 19% of Italians were practicing Catholics in 22, compared with 36% in the previous 10 years. The number of people who never practiced their faith has doubled to 31%. But a lot of this is immigration flooding in too. So the numbers are going to swap because you're bringing Muslims into the country. While the church grapples with the causes behind the emptying pews, some who have left their faith behind are searching for other spiritual outlets. An eclectic group of Romans who gathered near the ancient forum on a windy morning have turned to Juno, Jupiter, and Apollo to find answers. I was a practicing Catholic for many years. I was a catechist.
Of course you were.
Of course you were. Probably taught at a Catholic school. Who recently started attending the ancient Roman rituals. Then I had a spiritual crisis when I moved in with my wife. Had a very bad experience and had to leave my church. Was this his second wife? I wonder.
Well, it's Italian. Who knows?
Oh, man. Paganism, through sometimes used as a derogatory shorthand for anyone who does not worship the Abrahamic God of Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, is an umbrella term that encompasses... Dude, this is wild. Like,
I'm not surprised. I'm just not surprised. It's like you know, Tim the other day, right? Shout out to Tim Flanders. He put up this video where it was something to the effect of like, you know, the world, like Vatican II wanted to basically dialogue with the world, and the world rejected the offer. And I put in the comment section below, I said, conservative Catholics want a dialogue with the world. Liberal Catholics want to become the world. And traditionalists say exactly what James 4:4 says, right? You adulterers and adulteresses, know you not that friendship with the world is enmity with God. You become the enemy of God. And that's just what it is. If we have this mentality of not converting the world for Christ, then paganism is inevitably going to rise, because a lack of evangelization is de facto quasi-pagan. It's like, one thing I chuckled about is in the statement of the Holy Father, he says, that we've become mission territory. But yet, at your own words, you've also said, don't convince people of the Catholic faith. So how are, you say that, you also say things like Luther was right with justification. So how do you, why would you be upset? Why can't you just say that these people, because they do believe in a God, they have that little bit of communion still with the church in some mysterious way. And can't we at least acknowledge that as being good? That's the problem. It all falls apart. Christ is king. We got to evangelize. We got to get on this game. It's getting ridiculous.
It's weird because, like, as Catholics, especially when you read church history, you have this impression of the church going and preaching the gospel and spreading throughout the world and converting the pagans and bringing everybody to Christ. And then during the Reformation, we have our counter-Reformation, and we're just in a time now where the church has quite literally laid down her arms. It's like Peter in the garden when Jesus says, "Put down your sword." It's this weird thing happening right now where the church has just laid down her arms and just said, "Go ahead, take us out." If you don't see the apocalyptic overtones of it, where it just looks as if we're in the Garden of Gethsemane right now, where the church has just laid its arms down. And it's weird, that story, because Jesus tells Peter to bring his sword to the garden, and then he tells him to lay it down. It's a weird story. You gotta read all the synoptics of the Garden of Gethsemane. There's like little differences in there.
I know you guys have talked about before, like the famous quote by Bishop Fulton Sheen, where he's talking about communism and then like the ape of the church and the counter church and stuff like that, right? But what a lot of people don't know, and I'll actually send you guys these quotes when the show's done, because I'll go look them up and I'll send them to you. But there's actually, in the great theological tradition, right, of the manualists before the council, in their official, these are official seminary textbooks approved by the church, right? So these aren't just their opinions. They talk about in their theological manuals about how in near the end of the world, Satan will rise up a counter false church that will have all the quote sacraments, all the quote marks of the church, but will do the inverse in the mission of the church. So the mission of the church is to give God glory and to save souls. It will do the opposite. It will give man glory and it will damn souls. And that's exactly what we're doing. We focus so much on man.
Yeah, it's the religion of man.
We're damning souls. It's like you look at these people and you're like, okay, you don't have any hatred for these people. You feel sorry for them. Like that one person said, right? They grew up in Catholic Christianity, but now they're going and practicing, a religion of these, as St. Paul says, right, demons, who, let's just be honest, like you read about all those Roman and Greek gods and goddesses, they were all just these hedonistic monsters, right?
Yeah.
They didn't care about you. They used you for their own pleasure, right? But people are looking for meaning, and this whole self-religion that so much of the conciliar church has pushed upon mankind, it's not working.
You want to know what's crazy? Like, the early church understood there was a very important point to preserving the stories of these ancient gods, to preserving the stories of the Greek myths, to preserving these stories, because it saw itself as like, if you really understand the narrative of what the Christian story is, it fits in with these pagan gods, where these pagan gods exist, and then Christianity. So you have all these pagan gods around, and then you have the people of Israel, where God is telling them, do not worship these other gods, these other false gods. Do not worship them. They're all part of the story, though. And then when Christ ascends, the light of Christ goes out on the world, and it starts snuffing out these other gods. So much a part of the story that these gods get put away and bound. God binds them in the lower places. And in the end times, there will be a releasing, and these gods will return, and there will be a rising of it. And you are seeing it happen. Like, you guys, people that lose their faith in times like this, you guys are missing out on such an important point of the story. We are in an exciting part of the story, as much as it seems crazy and scary and all that. Like, this is an exciting part of the Christian story. And when you really understand that you're in it and that you're seeing these things coming back, it puts it in a perspective where your faith should increase, not decrease.
Yeah, sometimes you just can't help but saying, like, there is a God that reigns in Israel, because it's like, you know, if you see these things happening, if you see, like, for instance, in the Olivet Discourse, St. Matthew chapter 24, Christ talks about how in the end times that the charity of many will grow cold, right? We always, like, in a memeish way, joke online about much charity, right? But there's a lot of truth to that. You see, like, society's lost just basic common decency.
Real charity.
Yeah, real charity.
Real
We
charity.
all, like, in comparison, have lost so much that we could have. But then what does Christ follow that up with? He says, he that will endure to the end shall be saved, right? And so this is the point. Like, if you think that the church is always going to be this, like, 13th century powerhouse, which we would all love, right? Admittedly, that's just not the case, right? We will go back into the catacombs. Pius the 12th talks about it, right? He talks about, like, the day that the church abandons Latin is the day that we return to the catacombs. We're going to return to the catacombs, but it's there which the true light of faith will rise up, and you'll start to see genuine conversions happen en masse. And, you know, I don't know if we're in the end of times. I don't know if this is maybe just the beginning of the age of Mary or not. Who knows? But it's exciting.
Well, when you say the end time, look, it doesn't, man, it's hard to.
I mean, we've technically been in the eschaton since,
right.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
And it doesn't mean like, Christ is returning tomorrow. It doesn't mean the Antichrist is coming tomorrow.
I watched Left Behind last night. It's going to happen any moment.
That's what's funny, though. That the Protestants have such like, they don't understand. They actually think Christ is going to return to reign on earth in the flesh again for 1,000 years. And it's just, dude, that's what's going to happen. According to the story, is you're going to see a rising of these gods who were bound for this time. And Rome will rise up again, like ancient Rome will rise up, and there will be a severe persecution of Christians. It's going to be so. I've said it before, but in some ways, Francis is what's making it easy to be Catholic right now. So you guys got to kind of appreciate the calm before the storm, because it's going to get. So I got to just say something Andrew said, because I understand this feeling of being alone, right? So he's like, yeah, it's exciting when your family and friends are Catholic, and that's understandable, right? Like, if you don't have, which is why this show has been so freaking good for us, man. Like,
to be fair, my family's not Catholic.
No, but you have friends. Like, that's what I'm saying. Just even us hanging and talking about Catholic, like this show has made, dude. I just ordered St. Gregory of Nyssa, The Life of Moses. Can't wait for it to come, because I cannot wait to read this book. I've heard a lot about it, but I also want to get some of the other church fathers, because I'm trying to research stuff for the show so that I can shut up about the creation story and give you guys something new.
Don't forget, we do still have to have John Wynn on about the book.
Yeah, for sure. Well, okay, so also Rob and I are going to hang tomorrow in the green room, and we got some ideas that we're going over. So we want to do some higher production, shorter videos where they're not us just shooting the crap and, like this. We want to actually do like a 15 or 20 minute presentation on the Crusades. We want to do a 15 or 20 minute presentation on the Inquisition. We want to do same thing for Catherine of Aragon. I mean, that woman, she, to me, is a martyr for marriage in a way, even though she wasn't killed for her, she died to herself while King Henry humiliated that woman. And went and basically he's like the patron saint of the red pill movement.
So true, dude.
I'll never be able to keep up with Josh, but he does give me ideas of things to think about. And even, man, Michael Hitchborn, the things that show we did with him, where he talked about like the antediluvian world, it still resonates with me now. And it makes me just really contemplate these things, man. Just how important it is to not think materialistically, especially in this time when you're seeing all these things going on around you. You have to think in a way where you realize, like, even during Lent right now with fasting, I want to freaking give in so bad every day. And I just keep really trying to think of what I was saying earlier. When you give into your carnal desires, you go into a more debased version of yourself. When you fast from these material things, it elevates you to a higher place, and you go to the mountain, meeting God on the mountain of God. And it's just not giving into that spirit of temptation, because there is a spirit behind it. And you can't just say it's a feeling. It's an actual spirit calling you to give it. Just give in. It's not that big of a deal. Just have something for breakfast. Don't worry about it. Like, it's an actual spirit calling you there. And when you see it as an actual spirit, and you're not just thinking it's your own, weakness, like, just stop thinking it's just your own. It's actually a spirit calling you. You have to stand strong against the spirits that are trying to pull you away from your God.
What did you, if you guys don't mind me asking, what did you guys decide to do for Lent? Because I was like, gone for the beginning of Lent, so I kind of missed all the like pre-Lenten hype.
I am doing one meal a day, no meat Wednesdays and Fridays.
Okay.
And that's it. So
I'm doing something pretty similar. Fasting until I get home from work, and then no meat.
Okay, yeah, because Rob's on keto with no meat.
Yeah, the keto part is for health, from my doctor. It's not, doesn't have anything to do with Lent, other than it makes it suck.
The awesome thing for
it's
me
like
is
eggs and cheese. That's what I get to eat, guys. Eggs and cheese.
I gave up bread and cheese also. So even when I come home and have my meal, it can't be bread, cheese, or meat on Wednesdays and Fridays.
Now, for most people, I know that doesn't sound too bad, but keep in mind he's Italian.
That's all I eat. Literally all I eat is sandwiches and pizza. It is my entire diet. Every day at work, egg sandwich in the morning, sandwich for lunch, come home, my wife makes pasta, I throw mozzarella cheese on it, Parmesan cheese. That is my whole diet. So the awesome thing is my wife is doing it with me, and because we can only eat once a day, like, we're both so excited to eat for dinner. Like tonight, I came home, my wife made teriyaki glazed salmon with broccolini and brown rice. Like, it was, I've never been so excited to eat something.
Eat rice,
brown rice. Yeah, it was good. But
that's one thing that's been difficult since becoming more traditional, especially in terms of like Lenten and fasting and abstinence. My wife's been either pregnant or breastfeeding the entire time.
Yeah.
So she's never, I've never let her do any of it with me, because it's just unhealthy.
Yeah, no, that's not good. Yeah. So, Christian, so the first week was a lot of sniping. Now it's getting a little better. Like, we're both actually encouraging each other and stuff. It's pretty good now. We want, let's.
Do we want to talk about Russell?
Yeah. So I sent you the clip, right?
Yep.
All right. So thank you for the segue for Frater Spiritus. Oh no, Nick, what are you doing for Lent?
I'm doing essentially what I've been mostly always doing, which is I call it like a little bit stricter version of the 1917 Code Lent. So basically, best way to remember it is the same rules that you do for Ash Wednesday and Good Friday, of just like one meal a day and 2 collations. I do that Monday through Saturday. And then Sunday, I just maintain abstinence from meat, but I can have up to 3 meals. So, but for my collations, I'm very strict, because it's like, people are like, well, what is, how much does a snack really need to add up before it's a meal? And so I just follow what the manuals say. So like, if I do have a morning collation, 2 ounces, so like a piece of toast. And then for an evening collation, it can be up to 8 ounces. So that's like some soup and bread, but that's it.
Yeah. So I started at 3 a.m. this morning. I had to leave my house at 3 a.m. I was struggling, like, just energy wise. Like, I was afraid I was going to fall asleep. I had a hard-boiled egg this morning, just to get me through the day until I got home. And then I had that meal. Like, because of my job, I've been trying to stick to just one meal a day, but I had a hard-boiled egg this morning. Just to,
that's why collations were introduced. It was like, it's so much easier when you're like working from home with your family in the 13th century. But when you're out there like busting rocks in the
Yeah.
industrial age. You're like, bro, can I please have some eggs?
I'll tell you right now, if I was home, if I worked from home, like if I had a job like Rob sitting in an office, I'd have a harder time not eating.
See,
That's
for
there's
me,
that, yeah.
it's not so hard when I'm at work, but like I haven't been fasting on Saturdays or Sundays just because like when I'm making breakfast for the family
Yeah, you're
or
cooking for the kids and stuff.
right. So and then so I'm just not fasting on Saturdays or Sundays.
So yeah, I haven't been home on a Saturday yet. Like this will be the
Good luck
first
with that.
Saturday I'm home. This is gonna be hard tomorrow. When I'm at work, it's just like work. Like I'm doing stuff. I got paperwork going on. I'm, marking jobs out. I'm doing that. Like it's almost like my mind's busy. I'm not worried. Like I get hungry, but I got something to keep me busy.
What chicken dance video is being talked
We were
about?
talking about the video Kenny Hall put up a few days ago. It was in
Man.
Jersey.
Oh,
I'm
This
not. I
was-
don't like playing sacrilege.
Yeah, it was horrible.
yeah, I'd rather not.
I mean, not that I judge Kennedy for doing it or anything. I don't know. I honestly, I didn't want to even.
I haven't even watched the actual
I did.
Trans homily thing. I couldn't bring myself to watch
Oh
it.
no, I saw a clip of it. Yeah. It's just
Go watch an SSPX homily and you'll feel better after.
I didn't even want to talk the St. Pat's thing because I've been thinking about like what are we doing on this channel a lot, and I'm like, I kind of want God to bless what we're doing, and I think if we're just drama merchants, I don't know if he will. And I want this to be something that people get something from, and not just anger.
I agree. I've been thinking the same thing with my show where I'm just kind of like, that's why sometimes I'm just like, look, y'all, this is just not the Catholic Church. Go read a good Catholic book, go find a good mass and focus there. And because it's just like, this is just a horse and pony show on the side.
So what are we doing by pointing that all out? It's like, honestly, I think if you have a good mass that you attend, have a good parish life, try to not like dwell on this. Like we're going to see it. You're going to see it online. You're going to know what's going on. It's just, I don't, it's one thing if we talk about it occasionally here, but like, I never want to be the show that dwells on church drama. I just don't. I feel dirty after doing it.
I think you can do kind of like we did tonight. You can like bring it up for like 5 minutes, but that's not the point of the whole show.
Oh no, that's what I think. Tonight was a great show. We talked to, and it also kind of naturally came up, even though we